Good luck.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Game Addicts podcast, the show where we talk about the modern and retro video games that we play and collect. I'm your host, Brando. Sitting in this week as player 2 is my good friend, Nate Phillips.
Hey, dude.
How's it going?
It's going well.
It's going well over here, too. Today, we're doing another retrospective episode. We've done a couple of these the past couple weeks here, where we've talked about the SNES, we talked about Mass Effect, and stuff like that. And then today, we're talking about the Xbox 360. And the thing is that almost none of my friends, we don't have a deep connection with the 360. And I'll be honest with you, I was sort of like at the tail end of it by the time I got a 360 and started like actually playing the system and enjoying it. But out of all of my friends that I have, I think you were like the most like perfect person to bring on the show to do this episode.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. I really do love the Xbox 360. I can think back to the first time I played the 360, the first game I played on the 360. It's really weird because it's like it encapsulates a time like that kind of encapsulates a changing of the guard in our friendship.
A little bit,
and an evolution of us as people, because it was like coming out of high school. The Xbox 360 comes out in November of 05, I believe.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I believe around January of that next year, 06, our buddy Kraus actually got the Xbox as graduation present or something. I don't remember what that was, but he also had Dead Rising. And I saw those two things together, and I was just like, I have to have one of these, But I'm really glad that you're having me on today to talk about 360 games, because it is one of my favorite systems.
I really enjoy the system, and the thing is that I really didn't want to get the system for the longest time. I had no reason to. I was a late adopter of the original Xbox. I didn't get it until 2005. That summer when a good friend Silent Rob had told me about Knights of the Old Republic Star Wars. And he goes, you need to play this game. And I said, I don't have an Xbox. He goes, I do. Borrow mine.
And KOTOR.
And I loved it.
Was that just the first one he lent you? Or did
yes.
he say, here's both?
Yes. Yeah. No. He told me just play the first one. At the time, I don't think he had played the second one, or if maybe he was going to play the second one after I got done with the first one. I just remember that first one. I think he might have played it leading up to the time when I started at the Window Factory with him.
Okay.
Because there was a temporary there, and how this factory worked is that like they had summer jobs for people going to college. So like you could go in there and just work for the summer, and then you would be gone by like the end of August or something like that. This kid came in there. They were talking about an Xbox and whatnot, and Rob said that I can't remember if he bought one off his cousin or what. That's a theme that we'll talk about again in a minute. But the guy goes, oh, you need to play the Knights of the Old Republic from Star Wars. And Rob did. And then he let me play it. And then I went to GameStop and bought a used Xbox and KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2 and Jade Empire all on the same day. And I bought Jade Empire based off the recommendation of the employee from GameStop. He goes, if you like KOTOR, if you like these kind of games, you're going to love Jade Empire, because it's made by the same guys as the first KOTOR. And it's a little bit more actiony. I'm like, sure.
Winning.
But with the 360, I remember it was coming out, and I've been a Sony pony for as long as I can remember.
I like that term. I'd never heard that term before.
Really?
A Sony pony. That's great.
Of course, I was a Nintendo fanboy, and still am. For a while, I kind of got away from Nintendo, but like, I think that if you grow up with Nintendo, it never really leaves you.
I agree with that.
It may take a different seat in your level of gaming, just depending on what games are available for that system. Because we had issues like the Wii U where it didn't have everything, or the Wii, which was like a step down from like versions of that were on that system were different than the other ones. But
yeah,
when the PS1 came out, I was sold. And then I remember that the Dreamcast was coming out, and all my friends were like, "Oh, did you see the Dreamcast?" I'm like, "That looks cool," but I'm waiting for the PS2. And I'm so glad I did, because as well as the Dreamcast did at first, Sega wasn't doing well. And then the Dreamcast flopped after that, because then the PS2 came out and dropped the elbow. And then this came out, shortening the Xbox lifespan. The original Xbox only went for 4 years. That is short.
Oh, yeah.
That is short. Consider this. The Xbox One launched in November 2013.
Yeah, that's a almost 10-year life cycle for the regular Xbox.
Almost.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or hold on. No, like what I'm saying is that the Xbox One, the most recent, came out in 13. It's now 17. It's almost been 4 years. So
wow.
if they were to do the same thing, like they're going to do it, like so they're releasing Scorpio.
Yeah.
And like this fall.
That's 4K.
Supposed to be.
Okay.
There, just K, not 4K.
Okay.
Now there's a lot of stuff going on about that like we'll get into probably on like another podcast. But this thing came out, and I honestly feel like they kind of bum rushed it out the door because they wanted to get that leg up on Nintendo, on Sony. They came in as like they were Sega's replacement into the video game world, and Sega really worked with Microsoft to help make the original Xbox.
Look at the original Xbox controller to Dreamcast controllers.
Mm-hmm.
They're, I mean, almost identical in layout.
They even have the memory card slots, and then the microphone, the original headset microphone thing. Same idea there. And also, we were on the original Xbox. We're talking more about that when we had the 360 at this moment, but just as a unique little bit of trivia, we were this close to getting Dreamcast games playable on the original Xbox.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That was a part of the negotiation because, see, Microsoft worked with Sega to make the Dreamcast because Dreamcast runs on Windows ME or something like that. And then when they went to go make the Xbox, they were sort of in cahoots again, and now it's Microsoft making the system. And they struck a deal to get certain exclusives onto the Xbox. Shenmue 2, Crazy Taxi 3, Sega Rally, and the remake or reboot of the skating game where you tagged
Jet Moto?
Jet Set Future,
or
Jet something like that. I have it right over here. We could just go there and get it, but I'm not leaning over that far. But okay, Microsoft didn't want to support the servers because the online servers for the Dreamcast games were already up, so they'd have to be brought over onto the Xbox Live thing, and they didn't launch Xbox Live until like a year later. But originally, yeah, like that's what killed having reverse compatibility. Imagine if the original Xbox would have had, hey, all you Dreamcast guys, come over to us.
They would have maybe like put down the PS2. I mean, the PS2 is an amazing system. Don't get me wrong, but that would have shifted the whole way everybody would have looked at things, because it would have been Sega with Microsoft against both Sony and Nintendo.
I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have hurt the PlayStation 2 at all. What I think it would have done is that we would be talking about the original Xbox in a much different light. I think it would have sold way more, because I want to say, and this is just in my head, I want to say like the original Xbox only sold like 25 million units.
Wow.
And the PS2 is the highest selling console of all time, sitting at like over 150 million.
Whoa.
And so like they just quit making PS2s in 2012.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm pretty sure I want to say that like up and until maybe Guitar Hero 6, don't quote me on that, they released PS2 games, or do they still, even to this day, there can't be any new PS2 releases, right?
It depends on market, because like Brazil, I think they got FIFA 13 or 14 on the PS2.
Wow.
And so like if you're going for a complete PS2 set, you have to get that.
Oh.
If you're collecting. I'm not. Hell no.
Yeah.
But with the 360, this comes out a full year before the PS3 and the Wii. It's a full year on the market just by itself, just competing with the PS2. Because then there are games that are coming out for the PS2 and this, and even a little bit for the original Xbox. Like you had some crossover with like Call of Duty games,
Madden.
and some Madden games and sports games like that. And then same with the to a lesser extent, maybe you'd have to look into per title, but like on the GameCube, some of those games also went to the GameCube as well. But for the 360, man, I remember that machine coming out, and I played it at a Walmart.
Okay.
Back when they actually had the little like demo systems where you
Kiosk,
and you had to stare up You had to stare all the way like this, and you had to look at the TV.
And that's a stretch for you because you're already tall. So like, look at me, I'm like almost looking straight up into the sky, you know.
But I think I played like one of the Call of Duty's demo. I think it might have been 2. Was that the first one, or was it 3?
Modern Warfare was the first Call of Duty on the 360. I think.
I don't think you're right. I think it's the big red one.
Was Big Red one on 360 as well? I thought that was an original Xbox title.
It is, and I have it on the
But they
original
cross-platted.
I think it was
Okay.
Xbox. Xbox.
I like that we have to fact check on your show right now.
We do. Because all right,
Usually Game Addicts is pretty good about not having to fact check. You're pretty...
We've been doing a lot more often.
Really?
Because Mike did a really big snafu on the PlayStation retrospective.
You know what? I think I do recall you mentioning that to me. This story. But while you're looking that up, I do want to shortly say that I do owe it to the PlayStation 2 that I am such a big Xbox 360 guy because I trade in all of my PlayStation 2 stuff. Hey, I do remember that title. Yeah. It did come out, folks. He just showed me Call of Duty 2 in 2005. It was a launch title. That's why I don't remember it because okay, you got to think. I didn't get my 360 until like a year and a half into the system's life.
So 2007. Okay.
Yeah, like summer 2007. I would say like maybe August. You know, I trade all my PlayStation 2 stuff in. I had already had some credit from GameStop. I was also working there at the time, so that kind
convenient.
of
Yeah.
It was convenient. I got myself one of the original 20 gig systems, white, not the core. It had the hard drive with it. I got Gears of War and Dead Rising and Saints Row were my what was there was a fourth. It was a racing game. Project Gotham Racing 3. Okay. Those are my first 4 games. But like I said, I do owe it pretty much exclusively to the PlayStation 2 because it was the trade-in life of my PS2 that gave me the 360, which we're going to go into my absolute affinity for.
The Xbox 360, when it came out, I had very little interest in it. Again, like I was just getting into the original Xbox, and I didn't like it that much. Like I liked playing the games. I hated the original Xbox controller. I hated the black and white buttons.
The big boy?
No, not the Duke. Even like the Slim. I really don't like that controller that much.
You know, when I go back to the Xbox, I sometimes forget the black and white buttons exist. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do? I don't remember what the controls are. Oh,
yeah.
The black and white buttons have things to do. Okay, click those. You know?
And we'll see. And now, you know what? I'm used to it. I can adjust to that pretty easily. But I remember just back then, like doing this, like playing GTA or something. It's like, press the black button. It took me. I had to think about it every time, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. I loved KOTOR. I loved KOTOR 2 and Jade Empire, and I got GTA for it, and maybe a handful of others. I didn't have much, but when this was coming out, I was balls deep into the PS2. I think Bully came out in 2006, but in 2005, what was I playing in 2005? Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube, so I was playing that.
Awesome.
But no, wait. I'm trying to think. Yeah, okay, yeah, it was. Or did that come out on 05 or 04?
Where's your GameCube games?
All the way over there, behind stuff.
Oh.
And I don't have 4.
Oh, really?
I just haven't got it yet. I have it on the PS2. I got it like for a really good deal.
I feel like I have all 3 iterations of 4 because it came out on Cube, it came out on Wii, and it came out on PS2.
And now it's available for PS4.
Re-release?
Re-release. You can get a physical copy of 4, 5, and 6.
Wow. Like, is it bundle?
No, separately. I know. Yeah, that look kind of. I kind of give it that same look. But when this came out, I had other interests. I didn't really care. Again, I played the kiosk, and then the original system was it was big and bulky. I don't have my original system. When I finally got one, I did get like the Elite. It was the gray, and I ended up getting that. But I sold almost all of my gaming stuff, besides a select few. I've told that story here on the podcast before, and that was it. And then, oh man, me and Rob in the summer of 2007 went in halvesies on a PS3, which was still $300 a piece.
Whoa!
Because we got the 60 gig.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Backwards compatible, and honestly, like it wasn't even worth it at the time. We were living on our own in our apartment in Lafayette and just making terrible financial decisions. bought the Wii. I bought the Wii for Rob. I said, here, because he really wanted the Wii, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, we couldn't find one, and I found one. I said, found the Wii. So, this is my rent payment. It's yours. We did some stuff like that back in the day. He ended up getting an Xbox 360 first. He bought it from his cousin Jeremiah. And the first game I ever played on it, full game, sitting down, actually playing the system, was Gears of War 1. And so this was in 2007 by the time I played the Xbox 360. Now, this had a full year on the PS3 in terms of sales, but it also kind of had a bit of a drawback.
Well, they were still developing it and still working on patches because it wasn't a perfect system. And obviously the biggest drawback, Red Ring of Death.
That became a thing. That became such a thing. I mean, that was a meme before memes existed.
Yeah, really, it was. And interestingly enough, there are, like, to this day, arguments about what actually, like, what people did to these systems to make them have red rings. Because essentially, from what I understand, you had to get the solder to a certain temperature,
And it would desolder the GPU, or like whatever would the visual.
the video card, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the video card would come undone. But the thing is these systems, they do run warm. I'm not going to lie. Xboxes run warm. But I had people come in, if you stand your Xbox 360 up, you're going to get a red ring of death. If you lay it down, you're going to get a red ring of death. You know, and I'm just thinking, well, how else are you going to have it? Like, there are only really two ways to do it. But then I started kind of figuring out, like, people probably put these in, like, what you were saying about outside when we were talking earlier, your new entertainment system.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, people probably put their Xbox 360s in entertainment systems and didn't even think about it and cooked them.
Didn't have enough airflow. I want to say that our typical co-host for the show, Mike, he said his 360 got so hot that it warped the board.
Whoa.
So like it didn't just like take the chip off the board; it messed the whole thing up. And me and Rob had a hell of a time playing Gears of War 1. Totally great game, great co-op game.
Absolutely.
And then as a story I just told like a few weeks ago. Mass Effect came out in November of 2007, and I didn't even give it two thoughts because it was on a system I didn't own. Rob had one, but I was like, I was too focused on. In 2007, I don't know what I was playing.
Something
Rock Band. I was playing a lot of Rock Band at the time.
I liked Rock Band.
And then I was playing. I think Budokai Tenkaichi 3 came out, and since we had a reverse compatible system, same system, blah blah blah. You know,
Yeah.
just put it in, and then. It was sometime the next year that I got Mass Effect, and and I told the story on that episode about how I got it at Circuit City, half off of $40 because it had been out for a year. It dropped down, got it for 20. Put it in my system or Rob's system. Loved the crap out of it. Played through it like 3 times.
Wow.
I killed Rob's 360.
Really?
It red ringed on me for the first time.
Now, I believe this is a tip from Wes. And I don't know that we ever officially tried it. And this might not be from Wes. I feel like it was from Wes, though, because it was in the era of the GameStop crew. He said that if you got a red ring system, what you're supposed to do is take it and wrap it in like 2 blankets, and essentially you cook it again. And because what you're trying to do is heat the solder up just enough to where it'll reattach. But I'm just thinking, like, and I said this back then, and I'm thinking it now, is like, that's not really going to be super scientific. Because what you did was you wrap it and use a blow dryer, right? Problem is, you don't know where the solder is. You don't know how that solder has to lay. You're blindly trying to work on something that's covered in a blanket. Like, it's a terrible idea. But we told people, like, you might try that. Like, maybe you try that, you know? So I'm sure maybe I attributed to some red rings definitely not coming back from the grave, you know?
We tried it.
That exact thing?
I think it was a towel.
A towel?
We used a towel.
Huh.
And yeah. We tried it, and it worked.
Really?
Temporarily, it would get too hot again pretty quickly, and then because once you got it so hot the first time, you never really fixed it.
Well, you dissipate part of that solder; it goes on all the board.
Mm-hmm. And I ended up opening up the Xbox 360, found out how much of a piece of crap it is. Oh man, I was so pissed. I'm like, I told myself then I'm never owning one of these things. This is so bad. And then it was probably like a few months later. It was March of '09. I bought my first Xbox 360. I got it from Xbox. I'm sorry. I got my Xbox from Best Buy, and it was the Elite Bundle, 120 gig, one that came with Kung Fu Panda, Lego Indiana Jones.
Sweet.
And yeah, I got it to play Mass Effect. And then I ended up getting a few other games for it. Now, since then, okay, because I then started divvying up my library. The games that were like third party, I would definitely get here. I got some of the first party stuff and exclusive stuff that was there. Because originally Mass Effect was exclusive.
Correct.
Mass Effect 1 and 2 were exclusive. 1 was completely exclusive for 5 years, and 2 was exclusive for a year. Because EA bought BioWare while they were developing Mass Effect 2. And it was that they had still an exclusive deal at that point. So they said, okay, well, you guys get a 1-year exclusive Mass Effect 2 on the Xbox and on PC.
And they just restructured.
They did. We'll see. Okay, when they released Mass Effect 2 on the PS3 a year later, the graphics looked better because they went in and they plugged in the graphics engine from Mass Effect 3. So, and they're not drastic, but if you look at they're at the little power selection screen, or like whenever you're upgrading your guy, and you're looking at like the just details in the face, and if you played the games enough, or like I have, where you know exactly what it looks like, and you go, ooh, this does look pretty. But how they did that was that then a year later Mass Effect 2 came out. A year after that, Mass Effect 3 came out on both systems. Mm-hmm. There was no exclusive, and then. That was in 2012, and then at the end of 2012 is when the 5-year gap was up, because the original Mass Effect came out in 07, and then in 2012 the original Mass Effect is now up because the game was published by Microsoft. Correct. Because EA and Microsoft did the same thing with KOTOR, where the Microsoft Studios published the first Mass Effect. When EA bought it, Microsoft retained those exclusive rights for 5 years, and then in 2012, that's when the game finally went to PS3. So that is no longer exclusive at all. But that's the reason why I bought my 360. When it became unexclusive, I got a wild hair at my ass, and I sold all my shit, except for my Mass Effect games. But I sold the system and everything else. I sold my Wii. I sold the GameCube. I sold maybe the DS. I don't remember. I sold a lot of crap. And then that summer I went to my mom's, found my Super Nintendo with Star Fox in it. Changed it. It changed everything, because then it was like I was going to go to PC, kind of. Yeah. And then my experience was so negative. I got some games off the Steam sale. I said, this is great. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have my console for some games, and I'm going to have my PC for all the rest of them. Yeah. And then I tried to play Bully on PC, and it's a complete train wreck. Really? It took me all night to download somebody else's patch, not even Rockstar's patch. Somebody else made a custom patch for Bully, and then I had to still tweak with the settings to get it to work right with what I had. Now, maybe I should have looked in to see if my graphics card was really as good as what I needed to be. I was thinking, this is Bully. It came out like 7 years ago.
Yeah, it shouldn't need high graphics.
No, and it's like, and it played, my PC played Fallout New Vegas perfect, but it wouldn't play Bully at all.
Huh. That's weird.
So that's when I pretty much I flipped the table, and when I started collecting again, I decided that I was gonna originally it was going to be SNES and PS1. And then I was like, well, then I want this thing, and I want that, and I want this. And I was thinking, if I ever got a 360 again, I would get the Star Wars 360. So that's what I did. And that's the system that I own. And I bought it off of Amazon, used. But I got the box. I got everything that comes in the box. Most of I don't have all the little manuals and inserts. But the system is in perfect working order. Looks great. Makes nice little R2-D2 sound effects. Like when you have it plugged in. This one does a whistle, and then this one does a different whistle. And then there's a little message on the little tray that comes out. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. And then this is what you were saying before we started recording. Do you think this is their first attempt at a Chrome?
I'm pretty sure that's the first Chrome controller that came out for the 360. And then, of course, shortly after this, they went into production. I believe silver, black, blue,
which I actually
red is one.
Yeah,
pinkish red, sort of.
There is and there's a purple and a pink one too now.
I don't know if I saw those.
I've seen the purple one for sure, but I do have the black one. I bought this because I played a few games with the gold controller, and it's still pretty. I don't want to like mess up the chrome on it.
These controllers also had the cool the D-pad feature.
Mm-hmm.
First time, because people were complaining on the original 360s that because it looks like this on the original 360.
Yeah,
this is just an option, and people were not happy with that. So they said, okay, fine, we'll give you the option to kind of go back to the old school. Of course, they can't do it now.
Turn it. There you go.
But go back to the old school D-pad way with these recessed, and then that is your corner. Mostly people with fighting games, I think, were bitching about that. People who didn't have the fight sticks.
I really like how the 360 controller feels in the hand. It's probably one of the more comfortable controllers I've felt. Even when you compare it with the Xbox One controller, I think this is still better as far as how it feels.
Did you hold a Switch Pro controller? Have you held one of those?
Yes.
Is that the best? Because I've heard that is the best.
It is comfortable. It is really good.
Cool.
It felt really good in my hands too. But this right here, I really liked. Okay, I got pluses and negatives. Number one, I like the triggers. They really feel like for a good shooter game.
Better than PlayStation 3 triggers that you slip off of.
Yes. Actually, on mine,
you got those clippies.
I hit my microphone. That blue controller right behind you. Oh. Yeah. I got
the little
these.
clippies. Those are super nice.
And they just clip on. But yeah, as you said, you slide right off. And they did that to make the overall feel of the button feel similar to what had become before. And I get why they did it, but that would have been a spot to innovate
instead of just keeping it the same.
Now that's a story and a topic for another episode, because of the original PS3 controller that was going to come out was the boomerang.
Yeah, the boomerang, Captain Boomerang.
But with this, I like the triggers. I don't like the bumpers.
Bumpers were weird to me because even though you're pressing them in, there was never a clear-cut time when you knew you had actually activated it.
Well, it's a micro switch.
Oh.
These are these are triggers with the springs. These are your digital or analog buttons where you basically have your membrane in there, and a little pad touches the board, and that recognizes your input. These are little micro switches. These click, and these can go out pretty commonly. And I don't like that because even on the Xbox One controller, there's still the little switch, and I got used to it for where I would hold my fingers where I wouldn't be accidentally, because I can't remember what game I played, but one of those was a grenade button. I'd just be playing and
blowing yourself up.
I just blow myself up. The placement of the sticks, honestly, no matter what system, I know some people it's a deal breaker. With me, it's never been that.
Nah.
It is comfortable. I don't like the D-pad even on these. These are a little bit better because you feel like you actually are where you're going to be hitting. But the original flat, I don't like that. Your start and back button, that it is what it is. I'm just trying to turn on my system.
You can't though because
it's not plugged in. But now this is a big negative. It was the battery packs.
Well, and unless you got the rechargeables, which if you didn't work at GameStop, they could get expensive.
And guess what? I had a rechargeable one. And the one I had, it slipped on right here, and then you plugged it in here to charge it. Then those cables would go bad. Yeah,
I still have a good cable and a bad cable.
Why do you still have the bad cable?
Well,
so that way you know which one is the good cable?
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Because then you would just keep the good cable.
What happened was I was trying to plug in my 360 controller to charge when I was playing GTA 5 on the 360, which there's a game I definitely forgot to bring that should be on my list. I didn't even spaced it. Anyways, so
there's so much there's so many games came out for this system, and then also on the PS3 since how long that generation was. So you're thinking of games that were oh, this is great here, but you got to think that games are still coming out for this. Rise of the Tomb Raider came out for this.
Yeah.
Rise of the freaking Tomb Raider, which is like the big Xbox One exclusive, they put a version of it on the 360.
That's wild.
Dragon Age Inquisition is on this.
Now, I did know that, because Dragon Age Inquisition's also on PS3.
Yes.
I feel like, is Metal Gear 5
Yes. Yeah.
on 360?
Yeah.
That's a weird one.
Yeah.
That is a weird one to me, because I don't know that game would look even close to as pretty as it does on the PS4.
I mean, it looks absolutely amazing on the newer consoles, but I don't know.
Now, you know that the first I've had 3 different 360s. I had an original white that I was telling you about. Now, I only had that one for 4 months. And in having it, I learned Microsoft's coming out with a Halo 3 exclusive system with Halo 3. And of course, I'm a big Halo guy. On the original Xbox, that's one of the games that kind of broke me into the modern shooter. I didn't really play GoldenEye. I wasn't really that good at that game, but modern shooter, Halo's where it was at. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to trade in my original white system, a couple games, use my discount, take some time, I'll chip away at it throughout the coming months, and then have it paid off by the time it comes out, which I did. And I loved that system for a long time, but then, I don't know, maybe 2 years later, 3 years later, they came out with a 120 gig Call of Duty 2 Modern Warfare system. Sarah got that for me for Christmas. She's like, you're running out of storage space, because the Halo system only had a 20 gig hard drive as well. So you could fill it up really quick.
Yeah.
You know, as it started to get to the point where you could import parts of the games into the system and whatnot. So she gets me that. And I held on to my Halo 360 for a long time. I really did. And it was hard to part with. But somebody who I worked with was like, you have a 360? I was like, yeah. He's like, Halo Edition? I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, I'll give you like $300 right now. I was like, I can't pass that up. It's like about what I paid for it, you know?
Well, see, and I remember you having that, and I was kind of hoping that you still had that, because I think it'd be really cool to have. Because
I'm so sad that I don't.
Yeah, as I said, I sold my Elite, and got this, and so this is all I have now. There was a third model after the Slim model, which is this is the first model of Slim. The Slims look exactly the same. They're just different, designers. Normally just black, or I think. Was it just in black that they had?
Yeah.
But then, like, you could get the special edition ones that had special designs on them.
Correct.
There was a one...
I was just going to say this. These were the first of the 360s that didn't have an external removable hard drive.
Yeah, because you actually have to go in here to get it, and it's right here.
Yeah. And much nicer.
Yeah.
Where the fuck was that in the Generation 1, you know?
Yeah, like...
Use those big, weird, clunky things. And I don't know if you ever had to do it, but if you ever had to... and, of course, now I did this 3 times, because... surprised, you had to transfer your hard drive from one hard drive to another. Now, the thing is, with the smaller, so from my white one to my Halo system, I had to use memory card. No way around it. You can't 20 to 20 adjust. But when they released the 120 gig hard drive, they said, well, people with 20s are probably going to want to bring their stuff over, and we got to find a quick way to do it. So they had like
transfer cable?
An external transfer cable that I still have for transferring 360s, and you would literally have your hard drive out of the system plugged in, you know. It was wild.
You know what? Not Xbox related at all, but one of those weird, like, little niche items that you have that, like, nobody has anymore.
Okay.
On the PS3, the PS2 memory card reader for the PS3.
Oh, yeah.
For you to be able to copy your PS2 memory onto your PS3.
Because you could create slots in the
memory cards. You can make virtual memory cards on there, and it worked for PS1 and PS2 memory, but you can't bring it off of it. Which, oh man, because I don't have any of the memory for my PS2 games, my originals anymore, because I don't know where that memory card went.
Oh no.
And it's on my PS3. Because this PS3 has memory from my original PS3, the big
awesome
paperweight.
You had the 80 gig Metal Gear?
60. I just had the 60.
Didn't you at some point get the Metal Gear though?
No. I just bought Metal Gear 4, and then I bought the DualShock 3 controller for Metal Gear 4.
Gotcha.
But back to the 360. There's something else that I was gonna say. There's a third model.
Oh yeah, of
the Slim E.
Okay.
Where it's like, it looks like a junior Xbox One. Have you not seen them?
No, is it like flat faced and everything?
No, I'll look it up real quick. It's the
preamble to the Xbox One.
Xbox 360 E. And these, by the way, guys, there are no more 360s in production. They stopped that last year. And just last week, Sony announced that they're no longer making PS3s.
A lot quicker to stop making PS3s than their PS4 2.
Oh, of course. I mean,
I mean the PS2 is like a prize fighter.
here is a picture of the
Oh, that's cute. I would actually buy one of those. Maybe.
I mean, the reason why I say it's an Xbox One Mini is because they have the little shiny part. They have the vents on the same side.
Yeah.
And then the Xbox button is much
next to the
smaller.
eject.
And it's it's a smaller version of this, and it's even like
Yeah, I had never seen that before.
yeah, that was the very last version that came out. I want to get one because I want to stop using this.
Yeah, so you don't wear it out. It's a beautiful system, honestly.
It's a collector's piece, and the thing about being a collector is I got it because that's to say this is what I want to use. Then after I started using it, I'm like,
I don't want to use
this anymore. I want to get the newer one.
Yeah.
And the same thing is that this is my Slim. I got this for the PS3. I got that closely after that they got released because I traded Tony, our old bandmate, that control or that system for his
the Beast
guitar, and then I turned around and then I got that, and then I took all of my stuff off of it, and then I gave him the system, and then I want to get the third model of the PS3 because that has just a sliding top. It doesn't have a disc drive.
Yeah, Sarah's brother has the last model of the PS3. He got the God of War Ascension Edition.
It's red.
Yeah, it's cool. Super cool.
I want to get that or I want to just get a version of that because it's less moving parts. And the more that have disc drives or trays, more motorized parts, those are going to go out. And those might even go out before your laser goes out. So when you're talking like 10, 15, 20 years down the road, and you're looking at, I can't play my PS3 anymore because my motor on the disc drive has run out.
Laser works fine.
Laser's okay, but I can't get discs in or out. That's a problem. And with the Xboxes, the old original Xboxes have a problem with the trays where the little rubber bands are running out. So you go in there and you take it apart and you replace the rubber bands and it works just fine. This is probably going to be pretty similar, where you'll be able to get it open. But
now, do you know what the 360 had that was unique to that system?
what was that?
The faceplate.
Yes. Oh, the original models of it.
The original model had faceplates, right? So I brought something today to show you. You can kind of see it over here, but I don't know if I've ever showed this to you before. Do you know anything about what I'm about to show you?
No, I don't know. I don't think I've seen. I may have seen it in passing.
So this is as the original condition that I got it in. So the chips and stuff that are in it were brand new from 2K. So this I'll show you first. Is a BioShock limited edition faceplate. They're only 5,100 made. They went exclusively to GameStop managers and other major retailer management to have and to promote the game. It also came with a little card that I still have to this day about like plasmids, and it was a code for in BioShock 1.
Oh.
This one piece of memorabilia sets forth my love for BioShock because we got this and I was just like, wow, that's really cool. And I have a 360 and I like it, so I took it. You know, they're like, yeah.
On the back is your little holographic sticker.
Yeah,
4,994 of 5,100.
Yeah,
that's pretty badass.
Slid in right there towards the end.
Oh no, and you've even got a little bit of.
And that came like that.
Really?
Correct. And from what I read on the internet, a lot of them have this problem, and it was just because it wasn't properly sealed.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Because there's also, you barely see it, but there's a little happening right there too.
Well, see, I thought that was just part of like the look.
Looks
of
cool,
it,
right?
Right there. It wasn't until here that I actually felt like the raised paint part.
Yeah.
That's cool though, because those original systems, until they launched the Slim, you could get different faceplates for them, and that was something that they wanted to try and promote was like for you to be able to customize the look of your console.
I have a Triple H one.
That's funny.
I have one of the 5 Eternal Sonata faceplates. They were limited edition. I think we have Chopin.
That's cool.
So the main character from the game, Eternal Sonata, another great game for that system. But
exclusive.
Yeah, that was really it was.
Is it?
Yeah, it was exclusive to 360.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I have it. It was. I don't know if it still is. You know.
That's the thing is that
does exclusivity really matter anymore? Because if you wait long enough,
What I was going to say is that when they launched the Xbox, the original, in Japan, it didn't really take. They didn't like the size of the controller. That's when they made the small controller. Then that became the standard controller. When they launched the 360, guess what? They're not doing that great over there. So they start signing deals. They start signing deals with Japanese game makers to try and get games for the system to help with the sales over there. And so they got some cool Japanese games over there that are exclusive to this system.
Tales of Vesperia
Mm-hmm.
is a game I can name off the top of my head.
And we got some others that I think might be in my pile that I'm going to talk about in a minute when we start talking about the games. But I think this system won the overall sales.
For that generation?
Yes.
That's kind of surprising considering the Wii. But of course, you couldn't find the Wii.
See, here's the thing. The Wii won because it was over 100 million. When I say the generation, I'm saying PlayStation 3. And the reason why I say that is because that one was like that was the war.
Oh yeah, it was obviously PS3 versus 360. Actually, there was a bet with a gentleman that came into GameStop, and we never anteed up on it or anything. We got into an argument because I said someday you'll be able to get Metal Gear Solid 3 or 4, Metal Gear Solid 4 on a 360, and I don't know if you can.
No.
So I obviously lost the bet,
But 5 ended up going.
but 5 did end up going, and
I'm actually going to look up console sales
oh, interesting.
because I'm telling you, dude, I know it, but I want to make sure that it's 100% legit. Because how close do you think it is?
Today is not sponsored by Burger King.
You know what? Usually our show is not sponsored by Sprite, which is funny because that's what's in that cup.
Yes, it is tasty.
But how close do you think it is with the PS3?
Okay, hold on. You're saying 360 overall won in sales?
Okay, no, because when you talk about the Wii's in that,
Okay.
but I'm sort of excluding that because it overshot both of those by so much.
Okay, so you're talking just 360 and PS3.
How close do you think it is?
I'm gonna say under 2 million units. Like, like I feel like PlayStation 3 towards the end of that system's life cycle bridged the gap substantially because the 360 slowed down. They were starting to focus on building the One, getting things ready for that. Obviously,
there was a shift in management because when the 360 first came out, it was about the games, and then halfway through, Don Matrick takes over,
and
this is a home theater console. And so they stopped really, like, literally, for the first half of the system, you got a slew of great exclusives. And after that, it was your typical Halo, Gears, and then Fable. You know, that was it.
I think another thing that
Forza.
another thing that played into that, though, Kinect. They're trying to become the Wii midway through their life cycle.
So, see, PlayStation did the same thing
With Move.
With the Move. And then, see, the Kinect took off way further, but then it didn't stick around.
I would say Move. I bought the Move, and I don't think I used it once.
I borrowed Rob's Move 4 years ago. Still haven't used it. I have it here. He doesn't care.
He forgot he probably even had it till now.
Well, he doesn't watch. He doesn't listen to his own to the show that he's been on.
Oh, he doesn't listen to his own music. That's a Donald Glover reference. You wouldn't get it.
Like, so check this out. Like, I was talking to Rob and was telling him that we do these retrospective episodes where we just take a whole episode and just talk about one thing. And I said, I want to have you on and I want to record some extra episodes. Like, so that way I could have a couple weeks off, but there's still content, so it doesn't really seem like you're taking time off.
Yeah.
He goes, how can you do that when you talk about game news? I'm like, we don't just talk about game news.
Yeah.
Just so happened the episode that he was on was our review of the Switch. So it was timely. This is not timely.
No.
And, you know, we've done the SNES stuff and that. But getting back to the numbers, we got sidetracked.
So yeah, I said under 2 million.
Under 2 million. You would be right.
Wow.
The Xbox 360, now that it's, I mean, there's going to be more sold, but it's no longer being made. 84 million.
Sensible.
PlayStation 3, 83.8 million.
Wow, 0.7, like 700,000. They closed the gap that much. That's impressive. Like, genuinely impressive.
Like, that is insane how close that is. That's not, like, it's almost not even fair to say the Xbox 360 won.
Hold on. Now I'm going to counter culture a little bit. And I love the system. That's why I'm here. and I'm not a Sony pony, and I never knew that term. But you also got to think, Brando. Probably 2 million of these red rings, and people probably bought systems just to get their problem. Of course, Microsoft was really like I can genuinely say, Microsoft customer service during the Red Ring era was beautiful. As long as it was within the window of the warranty, they honored it. They sent people new systems without question. You know, you don't know how many times people would call in, "What's Microsoft's number? I got a Red Ring." I'd give it to them. Boom. A couple days later, they got a new system. You know. It's nice.
All right. So, Microsoft never turned a profit on the 360 because the Red Ring debacle cost them over $1 billion.
Wow. That's a lot of money in systems.
As big and as popular as the 360 is, never turned a profit. Same with the PS3. They never did either. They had...
PS3 is overcoming a different drama, though, because they introduced Blu-ray, and we have this whole other thing taking off that kind of slowed them down in money value-wise.
It was their stuff was more expensive at the start, but then they also had the big network crash of 2011, which for almost a whole month, PSN was down.
I remember that. I thought my system, I formatted my system because I thought there was something wrong. Then, of course, I found out like days later that nothing was wrong, and I formatted my system and hard drive for no reason. But I digress. It was only I probably only had my PS3 at that time for like maybe 3 months. I think I just started whatever game I first played on there, and I think it was like Heavenly Sword.
So another thing I wanted to touch on is that this was the first generation where they started doing online incremental updates, not just for the games, but for the system hardware itself. So like they changed the UI in this thing, the user interface, so many times.
Gosh, the original like dashboard for Xbox 360.
I have a game over there.
Okay.
Right above Red Dead Redemption, right there.
Okay.
See
I
if
know
you can.
this game.
I got that from Goodwill. It's a 2-in-1. This isn't in my list of like greatest games, but this is Sega Superstars Tennis, and the other side is Xbox Live Arcade compilation disc that has Pac-Man, Uno, and stuff like that. And they're both on a separate disc. But then there's also, I think it's the arcade disc, has a how to use the blades video.
What?
The blades is what they called the original dashboard.
Oh.
And there's a whole tutorial on how to navigate the blades.
Huh.
And I was like, that was like 3 major interface updates ago, because when I came on, it wasn't that anymore. You had an avatar by this point,
Yep.
and it was like these big just boxes, and they had different rows of them, and you went up and down.
Friends.
And then the one they have now is more like windows, where it's like you have this window, and then
There's like 5 little windows.
yeah, and then an ad. They always have an ad on like one of those windows.
Now, I forgot to mention this other system that was a specialty system that I fucking adore. Again, another system that I absolutely love was the Gears 3
Yes,
Red system. It's beautiful.
and then it comes with a special controller as well, and it makes noises.
Correct.
All their special edition consoles make noises.
Yeah.
My Xbox One is a Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and it makes noises.
Like gunshots?
No, it's like this weird little like.
Oh, that's cool.
Rob bought the Forza. Rob and Nick Torres both bought the Forza Xbox One. It's blue.
Okay.
Look, and then when you start it up, it like starts up the engine.
That's awesome.
It's a really sexy system.
At some point, I'll have one.
I really liked how Xbox really got into doing custom consoles, really before anybody.
Yeah.
Like you had some, like the N64 Pikachu one. You had, oh man,
There aren't many.
I think there's like
Silver PS2, but that's not even a graphic or anything.
you have a color variant because like the GameCube had the orange spice one that was kind of rare. As far as that, but
Original Xbox, I think, is actually where it starts because they had the orange Halo and then
the green Halo,
the green Halo,
and the green Mountain Dew, and they had an orange. There's like one see-through orange one that's like the most rarest Xbox in the entire world.
Halo. They only gave them out to like Microsoft employees, I think.
Well, see, what you could do is that you could go in and you can actually custom, if you work there. This dude had that custom made. Because they had all the parts, they had all the color parts, and he said, I want the Halo one, but I want it in see-through orange. So it's a see-through, like they made some other see-through orange stuff, but it's the only see-through orange one with the Halo graphic on there.
Jerks. I'm so jealous.
Now, the original console also didn't have HDMI support.
The original console only had the AV component cables, correct. That wasn't until, I feel like the 360 Halo Edition is the first time the 360 gets the HDMI support. And then systems beyond that, and then the evolution of the system obviously had it.
This had a really good, and of course, they really paved the way with online gaming. Of course, Dreamcast kind of had that first. And then they weren't even the first console to do so, have online gaming. But as far as like Xbox,
Dreamcast, right?
Yeah, the Dreamcast.
Technically,
and they're not even the first to do it first. They're
Really?
Yeah, like there was some online gaming with like using a cartridge. I think it was in like Super Nintendo over in Japan. And then even there was not online gaming, but the Sega Genesis had the Sega channel, where you can get a cart and you plugged in your phone line to it and you could download games to it. That's how the U.S. got the Mega Man Wily Wars game. Was just
without cart.
And they never had a cart.
And you have a cart.
It's reproduction.
Still awesome to have.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. But then what this did though was like how they integrated like the online gaming and then the party system and the chat system. Something that I feel that it did better than the PS3 did. Because the PS3 didn't have like any sort of party system at all.
PS3 was difficult to do online gaming, if you'll remember. A lot of people complained. You had use your Bluetooth. Sometimes your Bluetooth goes out. Different party dramas. Do you remember like PlayStation? Was it Life or Home?
PlayStation Home, PS Home.
Yeah. I just, for whatever reason, I remember I loved Home, and my hope was, I don't know if maybe I misinterpreted that. That seems to be a running problem in my life, is sometimes when they make big game announcements or big announcements for different systems, it's like, oh, that can do this thing, and I think it can do a thing, and then when the time comes, it can't. I thought when PlayStation Home was coming out that you could create your avatar, and then like I could go into my home and then invite other members who are on home to my home, and then put a movie on in my actual home, and then they could see it on the thing, and we could all watch a movie together. But I don't think that's quite how it worked.
No, like they did have a screen where they had trailers. You can watch trailers, because I saw like they exclusively did the launch trailer for Pottermore from Harry Potter website.
Oh.
And then there's a big open square where you stood there and you watched a screen. It was so silly. And then
You're on your TV watching TV.
And then you could spend real money for stuff in your apartment, your fake apartment.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, people...
Just like you could spend real money on your Avatar stuff. I got all my Avatar stuff through like bonus stuff.
Bonus content.
The only thing I did not is so Xbox 360 for the longest time used their own currency.
Yeah.
Xbox points.
Yeah.
They eventually changed it to dollars.
Because it didn't make any damn sense. The conversion was off. It was weird. You get 80 points. It's like $4.99. What?
It doesn't. Yeah, no. So you like if you bought a game, you always had like 200 points left over.
Yep.
And so if you're like, well, I ain't got nothing else to buy, I guess I'll buy this Mass Effect shirt for my guy. So that way your dude's sitting there, he's like, yeah, I bought that shirt. Or like that's the only time I would actually do in-game transactions for like if I was playing Mass Effect multiplayer and they sell the packs for real money. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, I just bought that DLC. I've got like 300 points left over. There's nothing else I want to buy. Pack. I didn't get shit.
Of course.
I actually had a worse time playing online on the 360 than I did on the PS3. I paid for this freaking subscription to play online.
Gold.
And I got kicked off so many freaking times.
Oh, yeah. They had terrible server problems. I also think that this system attributed to relationships ending, because there are many people I know in the Xbox community who, we used to play Gears and stuff online. And, Gears is an intense game when you're playing multiplayer against other people and you've got your own squad and you maybe, shout some obscenities at 3 o'clock in the morning and upset your significant other who was deeply sleeping, who has to get up at 6 a.m. This is not from any real story that ever happened to me or anything. But, that's just an example, not really. Yeah, man. The servers for the 360 were wonky, is the only way I can put it. because sometimes they would work amazingly. You could play for 10 hours straight. Other times you'd sit there for 2 hours just trying to get one thing to happen with your friends, and you couldn't even find them. You know, I'm inviting my friend. They don't see it, or they're seeing it, and then they try to come in, and then it kicks them right out of the room, and then they come in again, and then you get kicked out of the room, and then they invite you in, and then they get kicked out of the room, and it was never ending.
I got kicked off of PSN 2 or 3 times. With this, it was every single night that we played. Got kicked at some point. But I really think that this system is going to have a legacy. This system, like I think more people have a fondness for this system than they do the PS3, even though the sales are right up there with it. Because I just think people, when they think back and they're thinking of like nostalgia. How many kids over the course of the time period this was their first system?
Oh, tons.
Check this. I was talking about this with my nephew. He's like 11. All right, so he has a 360. He still plays it, right? And then I was talking to him, and he's like, he sees all my old systems, you know. He's like, when did that come out? And I'm like, oh, that came out before I was even born, you know. It's like 85, you know, the original NES,
Yes.
you know. And then he's like, I mentioned the 360. He goes, yeah, that's what I first had. I'm like, and I realized it. This kid was born in August of 2005.
Yeah.
That was the year the 360 launched. That's his first console. He's still gaming on it. Think about that mindset of the NES came out in 85, Super NES launched in 1991. So by the time I'm learning about stuff, like they're on Super Nintendo, and then by the time I get it, like a few more years, then there's the 64, a few more years, there's the GameCube, a few more, like this system, along with the PS3 too, but crossed generations of kids
And gamers alike.
Yes. Just how many gamers as a whole encompasses like where they played their first game.
Wow, that's a wild number to think about.
I mean, it is a huge number because for how long it's on the market, like you can go to the store right now and find a 360 and 360 games. Mm-hmm. And unique to the Xbox One right now, it's the only console on the market that is completely backwards compatible with Xbox 360 games. Not every game, but they're trying to get as many as they can.
Yeah.
And I just saw a copy of Red Dead Redemption that doesn't have this logo on it. It is the Xbox One case and color and label. It says Xbox 360 playable on Xbox One. It is they reprinted it and they did like the dark
But
green.
it's a 360 case because I mean, just for
yeah.
But there's a size difference there, so
There
it's
is.
this case,
But it's like
that color.
this color, and it has the Xbox One logo, and it says, yeah, I hadn't seen that before. But you know what? I think we are going to start talking about the games, and since you are the guest, I'm going to let you go first. Now, what we're going to do, guys, is that I'm sure that both of us have like our top favorite game for the system or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, sure, we might save those for last, but just like the last one that we did, I don't necessarily want to put a number on it anymore because I like it better when it's just like, I like this game. You guys should check this out. Instead of ranking that, oh, this game is better than this game by 1 because I said this. Literally, on the PS1 version or a PS1 retrospective episode, I put FF9 at number 9 because
It's number 9.
It's number 9. And then Mike's like, I'm surprised that's so low. I'm like, well, it was number 9.
It has nothing to do with it being low.
And we'll see. And I just didn't know where to put them. I had so many great games that I'm like, it's kind of hard to like sit there and number them. So, with that being said,
Now, do you want me to just bring all mine first, or one at a time?
we'll go back and forth because I think you have a few more than I do.
Okay. So, do you want me to? Where do you want? Okay, because I've brought 15 360 games.
Mm-hmm.
I have my top 10, which are my top 10.
Okay.
I have 4 honorable mentions.
Okay.
And then the super clunker that I want to kind of get into and talk about gameplay mechanics.
Talk about the Super Clunker.
Okay, so we'll start with the super clunker, which is Vampire Reign. Now, Brandon, have you ever played or seen this game? Know anything about this game at all?
No.
Okay.
That's a new one on
So
me.
this game, I'm actually really surprised to hear you say those words because you're a gamer. This game sells it as you're in an open world. There are vampires. They can attack you. You have to stop them. Sounds cool, right?
Well, yeah.
You get dropped onto a roof. And guess what? You die immediately. Every fucking time. Because they don't tell you anything. You have no weapons. You have no idea how to beat these things. And I literally played this for 4 hours and gave up. Because you can't beat the first mission. It's by AQ Interactive. It's a rated M game. I think it came out in '07, maybe early '08. I'm pretty sure it's '07 though.
Yeah, it's copyright '07.
Yeah.
So one of the company names on the back of this is Artoon.
Artoon. That's cool. Yeah, but this game is awful. If you have a chance to get your hands on it and try it, it looks like Solid Snake's hiding in the background.
Yeah, it does.
What are you selling me? I just like the allure that it was a vampire game. It seemed dark and interesting, and I
looks
wanted
like Solid
it to
Snake's
be.
on the back too.
It really does, or the guy from Siphon Filter. But
No, the dude looks like Snake to me. Like look at his face.
oh whoa! I never noticed that. Wild. Yeah, I think this game could have been good if the mechanic was better, but for it being a shooter, wow, he even looks there too. They just ripped off of Solid Snake.
Is that liquid?
Like maybe. Wow. But yeah, this is a clunker, man. If you can get your hands on it and try it, yeah.
Okay, since you have honorable mentions, let's do those next because
Okay.
I think I only picked 10, but I don't
I'll
know.
move through these really quick. Honorable mention 1 is Catherine.
Oh,
I've never
dude.
played Catherine.
This game is really cool because this game is developed by Atlas. This was the game they developed after Persona 4, which they're Atlas. They publish a lot of Japanese like RPGs, and Persona 4 was a really big hit. And so when they're going to their next game, they're looking at something completely different.
And boy, is it different. It's a climbing game.
It is a puzzle game where you are the dude's dreaming, and he's like the story is about him like being like cheating on his girlfriend, and then he grows like these ram horns, and he's being chased, and he had to solve the puzzle to get through. It is so weird.
And you're like climbing towers essentially. It's a tower climber.
It is completely weird and different, but it's like when you think about this game, I think this is one of the weird instances of this game was being developed for the PS3 first, and then it got ported to the 360, where usually for the longest time it was the other way around, where it would get developed on the PC and 360 side first, and then they would port it over.
Yeah.
But I always really enjoy seeing like very Japanesey games for the 360.
And I do actually have the entire collector's edition of this.
With the boxers and everything?
Yeah, still unused.
It came like in a pizza box?
Yep.
That's cool.
I have to dig that out sometime and show you. But
That's
yes,
pretty cool.
I do have it. Okay. Moving on next. This is a shocking honorable mention. You're going to be like, that's not even in your top 10. What? How about Halo 3?
Halo 3.
Correct. Now, while this is one of my all-time favorite games on the system, it was not my all-time favorite story. The story's okay. The gameplay with the multiplayer with your friends, that's why I loved this game.
Mm-hmm. I
mean, I had over, I want to say like 10,000 kills online when I was playing this in my heyday. But you know, like I said, the story...
Is this like a custom case? Or
No,
just
this
the
came with the Legendary Edition.
Oh.
That came with the Master Chief helmet. Because I'm a mark, and I have to have all the collector's editions of Halo, everything.
Well, you used to have almost collector's editions of every single game until you ran out of room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a while, I was really into that. And of course, like I was saying earlier in the car, I didn't get Mass Effect because I'm an idiot. The collector's edition, the one that I probably should have gotten the most. Next on the list is Clive Barker's Jericho. This is special edition. Now, I don't know if you've ever played this game or seen this game. It's a horror game. You're in control of multiple different people that have multiple different powers, and you can use them accordingly to go through this horror survival game. It's really good. It's really fun. I genuinely... It was one of the games in the 360 era. My thing was always, I want to play games with different gameplay mechanics. I don't want it to just be a shooter. I don't want it to just be... That's like Time Shift. I don't know if you've ever played that game. You can move forward. You can reverse your time. It's like Prince of Persia with guns.
Yeah.
It's cool. This was another play on that where there are different characters, different abilities, and you have to go through these worlds. The horror element is great. The ending is huge. Clive Barker did a really good job making this horror game.
Okay, so I just want to say, like, this is this pretty cool little steelbook case here. It looks great, you know, but I detest how they sit in there on the inside. For 360, since they didn't use Blu-ray, they used like DVD 9 or some format. How they sit in there, you feel like you're gonna break the disc every time you take it out. I have a game that has that too, and it scares me.
You have to go.
Oh man,
Every time.
you have no idea. Like I am definitely like deathly afraid of cracking my disc because the discs in that it's a special edition disc print too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
My final honorable mention, Shadows of the Damned. It's a third-person shooter about this guy. He's in the demon world. It's really artsy. It's really a different kind of playing game. It's fun. Kind of God of War meets Gears of War.
I was thinking that it kind of looks like, to me, it's a little what's the game, the Devil May Cry-ish.
Yeah, it kind of has a little bit of a Devil May Cry gameplay mechanic to it too.
Well, I wasn't even talking about because I've never played the game, but just from the look, like
and
the
look does definitely,
and the
have
aesthetic, it kind of looks like that.
Now
so.
I believe, is it Suda51 put this game out? No, Grasshopper did. Why did I think Suda had something to do with this? I don't know. But this is again, you're this guy's lover gets kidnapped and taken to hell, and you got to go to hell and beat the shit out of some demons, and it's pretty cool. The graphics are good, as you can see here. Some of the different monsters, they got really creative with just making really gory, awful, creepy looking creatures, you know.
Yeah,
and it is, oh, it is, haha, it is. It does have. It's the guy who was in Suda51 and Akira Toriyama. Or Akira Yamaoka. I screw that up every time.
Yeah, this isn't the Dragon Ball guy.
No.
That's a different Akira.
I love Dragon Ball Super so much.
I just saw a Facebook video today where a guy recreated the Dragon Ball intro.
But it's just him? It's poorly done? That's hilarious.
So cool.
That's hilarious.
All right. I got one.
Go ahead and start your list now, and then we'll get into my top 10 as well, right? I'm guessing?
We'll go back and forth.
Okay, cool.
First one, Brutal Legend. This game is also on the PS3, but this is released, of course, by Double Fine Studios and Mr. This is his name, Tim Schafer.
Yes. Yeah. Tim Schafer, the guy that did Psychonauts.
Yes, Psychonauts, and he also did
that other one. I can't think of it either.
Oh man, Costume Quest. Was like an RPG where you're like kids like walking around.
It's DS game?
No, the Costume Quest is on 360.
I don't think I know that game.
It is a online only game. I don't know if you can get it on physical copy, but it's an RPG where you and your friends walk and you like change costumes, and it's like Halloween. But I'm trying to remember the game that they just remastered and put out on the Vita and onto the PS4. So like the big skull guy. Grim Fandango.
Oh yeah, okay. That was, to me, Grim Fandango makes me think of PSP.
Is that on
right?
there?
I think they had a Grim Fandango. No, Adventures of Grim and Mandy, right? Is that what that's called?
That cartoon?
Yeah, I think there was a. I'm not really good with PSP.
Brutal Legend is really cool. It stars Jack Black. He's the main protagonist, and it is a love letter to everything heavy metal.
God damn, is it?
It has so many, like Ozzy's in it, Lemmy's in it,
Kyle Gass is in it, which is hilarious.
It has a badass soundtrack.
Maybe the best.
Yes,
I mean, at least personally.
It goes through different eras of metal with the soundtrack. There's like, I remember like going from like, it's got like Def Leppard, which is like your arena rock, your new wave of British heavy metal, and then you got like 3 Inches of Blood. You know,
Deadly Sinners.
And like the gameplay, it's like a big open world rolling around. Hack and slash kind of gameplay, but also has like a different element later on that's like a little bit more strategy.
And there's some RPG elements there, evolving your character. And of course, it's the tale of the roadie, which is another thing. The ultimate tale of this roadie who now has to save the day.
It's almost like heavy metal Zelda in a way.
Yes. So true.
And of course, has a couple tracks from Iced Earth in there.
Yeah.
In there as well. And that made me
smile. Is When the Night Falls one of the tracks?
I believe it's When the Night Falls and Pure Evil.
Yeah, it is definitely Pure Evil.
But it's from the original albums, so then it has the original singers as well. So yeah, Brutal Legend. This game, it flopped big time, and it's so cheap. I'm telling you, you can go to GameStop today and get this for under $5. and it's worth every single penny.
It's so good.
It's worth it even if you're not that into metal, because it's like, while it is a love letter to metal, it's got really good gameplay mechanics as well.
Yes, it does. Okay, so you want to see my first one?
Yeah.
On the official list. There's no story involved here, but Left 4 Dead. Again, cool gameplay mechanic. Again, it's horror. I guess I'm learning that I'm maybe a horror fan. But the cool thing about this was, just play with your friends. There's an independent story. All you got to do is get to the safe house. There's no real built-in story. There's no real built-in thing. You just go to different maps, try to survive, and I love that. So that alone, wow, it still actually has some of the original sticker, which is shocking.
I have a few games that still have that
2008, I believe this came out November of 08? Early November.
Sounds about
of 08.
right.
I feel it definitely is 2008, but of course, Valve put this out. I'm waiting for Left 4 Dead 3, so get on it, please.
They're not getting on anything.
Why?
I don't know.
Damn it.
They won't do Left 4 Dead. They won't do
I just-
Half-Life.
I just realized that I gotta like angle it because of the sun for you.
Oh.
So we're just gonna do it like that. But yeah, Left 4 Dead is awesome. Definitely a great title on 360.
Yeah. You know, I oftentimes don't even look at the camera when I'm doing this. I'm just looking at the person next to me.
I try to, just producer wise, like, hey, make sure everything's great. Okay, back.
Well,
to you.
I mean, the camera for me, it's like, it's just there. It's just there to capture us talking, and like the podcast element being super descriptive is still on my mindset.
Totally. Oh, one that I didn't bring.
Blue Dragon. Now, Blue Dragon is a game published by Microsoft Game Studios. I mentioned earlier about them striking a deal with some Japanese game developers.
This was Mistwalker Studios?
Mistwalker Studios, which is the studio formed by Mr. Hironobu Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy and the former head of Square
And
for a long time.
Nobuo does the soundtrack for
Nobuo
this?
does the soundtrack, and Akira Toriyama does the character designs.
It's like all my favorite kind of things wrapped up into one.
And this was exclusive. It is still exclusive to the Xbox 360. They teamed up with them to do a RPG, Japanese RPG, exclusive to the system. And I want to say this came out in, 07.
Yep.
I was thinking of like late 06, but maybe it was like into 07. And, of course, all the characters are Akira Toriyama based, so on the surface, it kind of looks very Dragon Quest-y, but it's developed by Sakaguchi. It's very Final Fantasy.
I love the element that your shadow is your fighting spirit, and you just your avatar character from the game stands there, but the shadows are what's fighting, and I love that element. Of course, you can use your swords.
Coolest thing that I liked is it used to have like the GameStop standee for this in the basement when we were in the band days.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing. When you search, nothing.
Oh, nothing.
She just keeps saying it, and then eventually in the game, after a certain point, you collect all your nothings, and you can go turn them in, and the more nothings you have, the better. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I played that, but it's one of my favorites.
3-disc game. Of course, this is when they still did manuals. And
I will say, the battle music for this game, Running Down Eternity or whatever, one of my favorite games for sure. I'm actually shocked that I forgot to... R-Tune. Look at that. R-Tune is also on there. R-Tune. How does... Let's compare and contrast here, guys. This is an amazing game. This is a terrible game. And the only thing they have in common, R-Tune. That's it. That's really it.
now, in here I found a receipt. And I'm checking to see if it's mine.
Wow, it's so faded from heat and time.
It is mine. I got this from Disc Replay used. I wonder what else I bought this day.
Oh!
Donkey Kong 64.
Cool.
Jet Force Gemini.
Cool.
Majora's Mask. Zelda.
Awesome.
God of War. Chains of Olympus.
Nice. PSP?
Yes. Blue Dragon. Dragon Quest 4.
How much did you pay for Blue Dragon? $17. That's my guess.
8.
Okay. Half. That's not bad. Yeah, bought this brand new. Loved Blue Dragon. Still to this day. Moving on to my This one has more of a story, but more of a personal story for me.
Mhm.
Our buddy John Burt, high school friend, we played the hell out of this game and beat it in one night co-op. And to play this game co-op with another person and have enough patience is pretty impressive. But the original Rainbow Six Vegas, it's a Tom Clancy game. It's a shooter, but it was a 2007 Best of E3 winner. So it's I don't know, like I said, the story is not anything that I even really remember. I just remember sitting up downstairs at Dad's old house. Well, Dad's house still to this day, but the house I used to live in the living room playing. I think we started at like 8 o'clock at night, and like 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning, we finally broke through and beat it. And it was so much fun. You know, it's like espionage and tactical, and yeah.
I just want to add that a lot of the games that we're talking about here today might actually be backwards compatible. So that is something to look into. I know they're working on Blue Dragon. I don't think Brutal Legend is, but I think Vegas is. I think both Vegas games are backwards compatible.
That makes sense.
Tales of Vesperia.
Hey, I was just talking about that game.
Again, another exclusive. This is the only place where you can get Tales of Vesperia in America. In Japan, it is on PS3.
I didn't actually know
It
that.
did go to PS3. This is, of course, part of the Tales series from Bandai Namco. They should have just
Brando, that's great.
They should have just changed their name to Bando. The Tales series, they've been going on pretty well, and they are on. I think Mike has the newest one. Zestria.
I
don't even know how to say it anymore. But this game is freaking awesome. I love collecting like Japanese RPGs for this, because that's not what it's known for.
And the Tales series is great in and of itself.
It is, I really enjoyed playing Symphonia on the GameCube.
Legendia.
I never.
Is that PS2? Legendia?
Maybe.
And then there was one that was like a European exclusive release for PlayStation Portable PSP. What is that one called? Tales of... I can't remember.
Tales of something.
Euphoria, maybe?
Tales of Euphoria.
I don't know about that.
But it's really good, solid RPG. All, like as you said, a lot of all the Tales games play very well, and they all have a pretty decent story to go along with it. And then I wonder... See, now I'm in here looking to see if I got any more
goodies.
Goodies.
You got me wondering if they're in. I know there's not, because I typically don't remember to store stuff.
Here's the thing: is that with those receipts, sometimes I keep them. Hey, you got free gold.
Free gold with free trial on Netflix. Anybody want to watch DVD rentals on my 360?
One reason why I keep my receipts is that I keep them until I test them to make sure that they're good.
Good call.
Typically, and then usually I put them in one of the cases from that bundle. And
sometimes you forget.
Yeah, sometimes I forget to throw it away, but I like keeping it too for memory's sake, because it was just on the SNES episode that me and Mike did. I found the receipt for Chrono Trigger.
Oh, that's awesome! When you went down to that dude's place.
Yeah, and Caitlin bought it for $80.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So yeah, it's your go.
All right, next one up for me. I don't think this one's on your list. It's one of my favorites, and actually, both Sarah and I have played and beat this game 2 times because we're trying to get 100%. Singularity. Now, this game was really cool because, again, it features a gameplay mechanic of stopping time and changing time and altering time and doing all that stuff. This game, though, really, set in, you're an American spy going to Russia. You're going to try to stop, the bomb and all this stuff. But the thing that I really loved about it is they had so many great Easter eggs, okay? And of all the Easter eggs, 'cause what they would do is there are different, I want to say, posters or, notes that you find in games. But one of them was literally about, it was literally an exact quote from Borat, the movie, but they changed to whatever. I want to say it's like E99 is what the substance you have in the game is called. So instead of like goats or whatever, it was like he stole my E99. He's an assholes or whatever, and it was hilarious. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. But it's actually, to me, I think this is more of a sleeper pick. It's a shooter, but it's got a fun gameplay mechanic. It's saving the world, going to Russia. It's gorgeous. It's really a fun game.
Right on, man. Right on.
I feel like when I'm talking about the games, I just have like kind of vapid answers because I have a really terrible memory of like I love this game genuinely, and I've played it twice. But to tell you details about that game, I fucking slept since then. Like
Lost Odyssey.
oh, so good.
Again, another game made by
Mistwalker
and Mr. Haranobu Sakaguchi. It's trying to remember his name. Say it right. I want to say that the music was also done. And I don't know if it was, though.
No, I don't think Nobuo did the music on that one. Because I feel like, oh no, one of the 3 discs down.
4.
One of the 4 discs down. Wow, it came all the way over here to me.
Oh, no.
Okay, I got it. It's going to be unabated. There you go. Saved. Hey, look, it's another receipt. That's a GameStop receipt, I feel.
It is. Because I was trying to track this down. That's the only thing I bought. I bought this. I can't find a date.
By the way, speaking of GameStop real quick, so I don't know if you folks noticed, but I did in fact work at GameStop. And I don't know if you guys brought this up on any Game Addicts podcast or anything, but they killed the Circle of Life. Do you know what the Circle of Life is, Brandon?
No, I do not.
So you sell a new game to somebody, and then essentially they're going to trade that game in, and then they're going to buy a different game, and then they're going to trade that game in. It's a circle of life, and you get to kind of keep going around. And then within that circle of life, you've got like, well, you got to get your, oh god, at the time it was, I don't know, whatever the GameStop rewards card was that would give you your Game Informer subscription. You want a subscription to Game Informer, it gives you the power-up card, the power-up awards. It wasn't power-up awards when I did it. But that Circle of Life thing, it got released that GameStop was holding back brand new games and forcing people to buy used games because they turn a bigger profit on that, right? Well, whoever leaked that and what other people within GameStop leaked that essentially brought a whole end to and the destruction of what we knew as the Circle of Life. Which is crazy because that thing's been going on since, Babbage's and GameStop. Babbage's, GameStop, and EB Games, if you can remember all 3, essentially they come together to now make GameStop. They all had their own kind of circle of life with the trading in and the buying and selling of used games. And GameStop really, really kind of took it to the extreme because they were that corporation that they had enough money. They bought out the other 2 companies and they were going to make it to benefit them the most. And as a corporation standpoint, you have to understand that's probably smart. But they were really legitimately preying on all the people buying games from GameStop, not to really like shit on them or anything.
It's okay. You wouldn't be the first one. In fact, there's been multiple times on this episode where I've refused to say their name, and I just call them the Devil's Playground.
That's a fair assessment.
Back to the game, though. Once again, exclusive to the Xbox 360 from Mistwalker. Another great RPG. This is, honestly, it feels like it would be right at home. Like you could put Final Fantasy whatever on here.
96.
And it probably would fit in there just fine. Because it has some really cool, neat elements of gameplay. And then, like, the look of the graphics, the look of the game, it's like, this looks like something that would be made for a Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So, again, another great title. And I paid $15 for this, and I've seen this recently for about $8.
Wow, not bad, not bad. So these are not only, I guess now's a good time to collect for 360.
Yes, exactly.
It's just when you're one system out of a system.
And early on, and everyone's trading all their stuff, and there's a surplus.
There's going to be time when you can pick up stuff for really cheap, so now's a good time for any of you who are trying to collect. We're going to pick up one. This is an obvious choice for the 360. Boom, Mirror's Edge. I'm wondering if this is maybe also on your list.
No.
Again, parkour game.
Love it, though.
Had an amazing... The element of this game that I loved was you never felt like you were slowing down. Mm-hmm. While the story was going, and the story was busy, and you had all these things going on with her, it never stopped. And it was beautifully done.
Unless you pirated the game on PC. Did you hear about that?
No.
For this game, if you try to run, she would just slowly... stop moving.
Really?
And you can't play the game if you don't run.
Huh. Yeah, because you can't build up any momentum to do any of the moves.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I mean, and I remember, when Mirror's Edge was announced to come out, and they did the whole big reveal at E3 and everything, the pre-order bonus for that was a messenger bag. Her messenger bag.
Yeah.
I still have mine.
Oh, that's cool.
It's yellow. I can't find it. I know it's somewhere within Dad's house, but I've stored it somewhere away. And maybe when I locate it, I'll send you some pictures.
Oh, that's cool.
Check this beast out.
I think this game is on your list.
Ooh, interesting.
Alan Wake. Developed by Remedy. Of course, they are known for making the Max Payne games. And then coming into this, they've done something a little different here.
Oh, yes.
Where it is just... I've heard people compare this to like Twin Peaks. In a way.
Set in a town, murder mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get that, but gameplay mechanic alone sets it apart.
It
just so beautifully done.
What I feel like they were able to do with this game is something that what I always felt like some of the Silent Hill games did very well, and that was atmosphere. Yes. And some of the Resident Evil games hit it. Not all of them do. I feel like the newest one has hit atmosphere level. You know, I don't own 7. Don't go looking. I ain't got it.
I didn't know. I was like, I want to try.
I've got the demo, but I don't own the full game yet. But when they did the PT demo, atmosphere.
Oh,
and I feel like this is full of atmosphere. And I just feel like Remedy they don't do a whole lot anymore. They did this, and I think they did that game where you could slow down time, Quantum Break.
Oh. The other slow down time game. They're like 7 of them.
Yeah, there's so many of them that it caught on. But man, it didn't do very well.
You know, and I think a lot of the reason it didn't do very well, Brando, I don't know if you remember this. This was supposed to be a launch title for 360.
Was it? That
Correct.
Far?
I mean, they had demos for this.
This came out in 2010,
launch, and it didn't come out till 10 because there were so many problems. They wanted the game to be perfect. I mean, you can't fault them because they end up making a masterpiece. But it was just people got sick of waiting.
Yeah.
Is Alan Wake ever going to come out was the big question, and of course, eventually it does.
And of course, it's like you spend that long in development, and man, it gets to a point of, like, as you said, like general interest wanes.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think that happened with another game that was supposed to be a launch title, Dark Sector, which could have very easily made this list. I mean, I really struggled with, do I bring Dark Sector to the table? I feel like the game actually ended up having more flaws than good, while the glaive is a really awesome gameplay mechanic where you can almost, I mean, it's really, the glaive in that game is the 1.0 of the Batarang that we use in Arkham, being able to control it through things and stuff. But moving on to my next title, I wonder if this is on your list.
I don't
know. I can't tell. I just realized that one I thought I was going to bring, I actually didn't bring either also, so that's going to shift things pragmatically. But Star Wars, The Force Unleashed. Not known for the most amazing story in the world, but again, it brought you to that gameplay mechanic of you felt like you're a Jedi, you actually had some good controls of the character. It was the first time in gaming that I felt like they really nailed playing a Jedi.
They took some aspects from like the God of War series, but made it fit so well within the setting, because it doesn't feel like a direct carbon copy of it.
No,
they definitely do their own stuff.
Heavenly Sword was a carbon copy. They ripped themselves off. You know what I mean? Let's just be honest.
Good game though. I really like The Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
Fallout 3. Second game I bought for the 360, and I got this from Disc Replay, my local Disc Replay. I didn't get this copy. This is a different copy, unfortunately. But the game had just come out in, like, was it 2008?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I bought it in March or April of 2009. From Disc Replay, and it was listed at $42.99. And we bought some movies, bought maybe another game or something. And I'm figuring up in my head of what it's going to be. Oh, yeah, dang it, this is much money. Whatever. We just finalized the place we're moving here soon. This is a celebration. Spend money. Spend more money.
It's a celebration, bitches.
And so I go up to the counter, and he says the price. I'm like, oh, cool. Something must have been cheaper or something. Because sometimes at disc replay, like, oh hey, this rang up actually like $5 cheaper. Or I've actually had I just got a Persona 2 on PS1 listed at $70. I got it for $50.
Wrong tag.
No, it was just and like on the tag it said 70. It rang up 50.
Oh.
So in the system it had changed. But from the time they got that game in, printed off the sticker.
Yeah, because they definitely don't go back through and adjust their prices. I will say GameStop's good about that. We had to do that every morning.
Every morning?
Shift prices.
I looked at the receipt, and this is before our discrete play and other ones. Maybe other ones had it better, but had like a barcode system and a big system. It was just had a price tag on it, it had a number on it. So he wrote it in there. He hit the wrong button. He hit $12.99. So I got this for $13 just a few months after launch.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I put over 100 hours into Fallout 3. I still haven't beat all the DLC. I have half a one of Broken Steel, and I have Point Lookout, which I haven't beat. But I got so into this, I absolutely love it. And actually, you know what? Since I lost my 360, I lost that game save. So it gone. So will I ever play this again? Maybe.
Man, that's one of those hard things. You put a lot of, like I understand that. You put a lot of time and effort into playing that game over 100 hours. You know, I mean, it only takes 68 hours to get your pilot's license. I want you to think about that for a second.
This game, again, this is it's not an exclusive by any means. This is on PS3. It's on PC. But this is just where I played it, and this became this solidified that if I have an Xbox console, this is where I get my Bethesda games, because I've got Oblivion and Skyrim for this, and now Fallout 4 I got on the Xbox One.
That's topical though, and I don't know if we should talk about it because they just announced a new Elder Scrolls, right? 6.
Did they announce 6? I didn't.
Just yesterday, 6 was announced.
What?
Yeah.
They did not.
Yes, they did. They got the little logo and everything. It was white. I promise. I know I saw it. It starts with a T. It's Elder Scrolls T. I don't know what the word is though. I'm not gonna lie. It's like I don't know, something. But while Brandon's looking that up, I'm gonna bring out my next pick. Hey Brandon, seen this one before? Brutal Legend.
That's cool.
Hey, we just talked about this one. Brutal Legend again. It's one of our all-time favorites. I can say that for Brandon because, well, we both played the shit out of this game. Double Fine Studios. You know, it's just a masterpiece. It totally went under the radar. It's totally underrated. Maybe because it was just geared towards the metalhead is the reason that it didn't do so great. But if you're looking for a really fun, different kind of RPG strategy, open world gaming experience, I highly suggest you check out Brutal Legend. Now, did we find out anything about Elder Scrolls?
There was not one.
Really?
There was a new Elder Scrolls Online announcement a few weeks ago. That was the Morrowind expansion.
Oh, so
which I had forgotten about. We talked about that here on the show. Maybe I thought it was a big deal, but Mike kind of downplayed it. He didn't really like the online Elder Scrolls. Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah, it's you next. I got to kind of breeze through Brutal Legend because we already discussed it ad nauseum. So,
Vanquish.
Oh, this is a game. Really quickly, not to stop you. I never got a chance to play this, but it was always on my list to get, and I don't have it.
Really cool. It's made by Platinum. Platinum Games, of course, they're known for like Bayonetta, Metal Gear Rising, and they made like the newest Transformers game and stuff like that. And this game is really freaking cool. It's like high octane Gears of War. Like you run around and you're sliding all around, and it's got that cover mechanic like Gears of War, and it's published by Sega. This was this is a later addition to my collection. I had no idea this is available on PS3 as well. Huh. But this is just where I saw it, and that's where I got it for. And I played it, and I'm like, this game is amazing. And unfortunately, it just didn't do that well.
Weird.
But I don't know how much it goes for now. Again, I kind of picked mine up secondhand. But something to look into if you ever find a copy of Vanquish for either system, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely go and try this out. I was kind of like went into it thinking, oh, this might be fun. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was.
Nice. Yeah. Like I said, that was one of those games that when I don't know if it was a trailer, but I know that when I saw that cover, I was like, what the hell hell is this? He's a sliding robot, dude.
Yeah, dude, like you slide in the cover and all that stuff, and it's like
that's cool.
It's got the Gears of War aspect, but it's like it's very high octane,
A little faster paced.
Well, because like the Platinum games, they of course the Bayonetta very fast, and then the Metal Gear
was
like
so fast
and very not stealth. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's your turn, pal.
Oh, okay.
How many you got left?
4. This is almost my 4. We started like you're one ahead of me because I started with honorable mention stuff. So
I'm just trying to decide.
I know this one's on your list.
Oh.
If it's not on your list, I'm gonna actually be sad.
Oh,
Bam! South Park. And
I was
the Stick
close.
Of truth.
I was so close. I was so close because if you actually paid attention, it was like right above the game that you. I love that game, dude. I just replayed that through that in the fall because I was hoping that Fractured Butthole would be coming out soon.
Delayed.
It got delayed. That game is like Paper Mario meets South Park.
And this is not the game we were originally gonna get. When South Park originally announced they were gonna do a game, didn't they like emergency rush it and redo half the game because there were so many problems with like the Type 1? Or didn't Obsidian get bought out by Ubisoft? I think that's what happened, right? It was originally going to be an Obsidian game, and then Ubisoft bought them out.
I know it was going to be another company, and then Obsidian came in.
Gotcha.
And honestly, that's what Obsidian does well. Is like they come in and they
Snipe.
well, because they made KOTOR 2,
Yep.
and they made Fallout New Vegas,
Yep.
and those are big games started off by other companies, but they came in and they saved the day with that. That game is way more deep than it has any need being.
And if you're doing any nitpicking of the game, it's so minute. I mean, the minutia, it's tiny. That's a good little Easter egg right there. But look, the only thing I really had to say about this game I wasn't a fan of is once you beat a mission, you can never go back to it. So if there are any exclusive collectibles,
Like when you're on the alien spaceship,
or when you're in the school,
yes,
there's a spot when things break out in the school that if you don't collect everything before you leave, you can never go back to it.
Right.
Because there are certain parts of the school that'll be locked off.
Yeah,
after
because
that mission.
because they had the collectibles, the Chim Pokemon and stuff like that.
Yeah. Can't wait for the Fractured Butthole.
Gears of War 1.
Hey, thank you for bringing this because I didn't. I
Is that what you meant earlier when you? Gears of War. This was the first game I played on the 360, like I said before, and I think it's a really good shooter. However, I think it's even better. Like what makes this game is the co-op, and because I remember just playing through it, and you have to help each other through places. I just remember being in that one spot where you have to hold the spotlight on the dude.
Oh.
As he gets across, or otherwise all the locusts or the things will like come and get you. The Reavers will come and like just kill you. And I kind of feel like as the series went on, that took a backseat because I don't remember any really major instance in Gears of War 2 where they had that. And then when I played Gears 3, it was kind of by myself, and I didn't really even get to see
Gears 3. I think there's a spot in, or maybe that was 2. 2 and 3 kind of bleed together for me, but there's a spot in like a castle. I think I played 2 and 3 with Tony. We co-opted those together. There are some spots in 3 where they do bring back that team play mechanic a little bit.
Was that the one that was 4-player? Did they do 4-player on 3 co-op?
Correct, because that was the last one of the original series, and then they did Judgment Day.
It was just Judgment.
Judgment. I never played Judgment, actually. It's one of the only games. I don't know. Do you have it? No, you didn't. He does not. He does not.
That's one of those that, like, if I'm ever at Disc Replay and I'm looking for games, because they have buy 5, get 1 free.
Yeah.
I'm always like, how much is it?
Not quite.
And it's not one that, like, that I'm a dire need of getting, but I want to complete the series.
Totally.
I have it on. I got it for Games of Gold 1 month for free. And if you subscribe to Gold and you download the games, you get to keep them forever. So I do believe it's on here.
Oh, cool.
On like the hard drive.
The thing about Gears 2 is, and you mentioned how it was about the spotlight is one of the big examples of team play. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is also when one of your teammates gets downed.
Yeah.
I loved that it's not just, oh, you respawn, he died and comes back. you can help your person to come back if you're good. And I love you can drop your different ammo and stuff to help them out. And yeah, overall I thought Gears was a great game. I'm really sad I was dumb and spaced. I mean, I made this list at like 11:30 2 nights ago. I was up pretty late and working, and I thought I had everything, and it looks like I forgot Gears, but it's okay. It's totally okay.
You got 2 left?
I have 3 left.
You have 3
Remember,
left.
You're 1 ahead of me.
I know, but I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this.
Oh, okay. So I'm at my final 3. How many do you have left? 2?
I think I'm supposed to have 2.
Did you not math right?
No, I did, but this is you go ahead and do your 2, and then
We'll do our final 1.
Yes.
Okay. So it's funny because one of these we already talked about. This one we didn't. This to me
Darkness. Okay.
is one of my opus games. Highly underrated. I thought the graphics in this game outlast some games now. I think this to this day holds up in as far as how it looks.
Did they do a second one?
They did, and it's just as good.
Is it?
It's a great game. The original Darkness was beautiful because you had the mechanic of the darkness, which is again, it's just like having powers in God of War or whatever. But it was the creatures on you, and I loved that. And just as you go through this game and you evolve into the story and go deeper and deeper and deeper, they took a lot of the mythos from the comic books and made it really prominent in this game. And I think that's what made it exponentially better than what people gave it credit for. Mm-hmm. This game, I think, fell under the radar. It was around timing. This is a 2007 game, right? 2007?
It's yeah. It
has to be. Yeah, 2007.
It's close.
You got to think. In 2007, here are some games we got that came out in 2007 just for 360. Not talking if or if not they're cross-plat. You had Assassin's Creed came out in 07. Mm-hmm. BioShock comes out in 07. You had Halo 3 come out in 07. So, I mean, it was mounting. There were, like, a lot of, like, heavy hitters. This game comes out in, like, July when games are kind of slow. It fell by the wayside.
Didn't Mountain Dew launch Game Fuel with Halo 3?
Yes, they absolutely did.
Oh, I thought that was right.
Yes, they did. And I think for a short time, some GameStops, the GameStops that had the little mini fridges, carried the Game Fuels.
Right on. Are you into your last one? Or you
the
got one
second to last one, we already talked about it.
Alan Wake.
Mine's a little bit different than Brando's.
Was that another special
collector's edition?
What is up with them going with the dark case? Because it always looks like that you just have a
black case,
or like because GameStop will just put a black case and
yeah.
At first I thought that's what it was, but then if you look at the actual label, it says limited collector's edition, and then there's no signification of Xbox anywhere on here.
Yeah,
it's like, what system is this for? I don't know. It doesn't say.
It actually only says Microsoft.
So this could be a PC game for all we know, except for right here, Xbox 360. That's I mean, awesome game. I loved Alan Wake.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Bring it at the same time? Is that how this is going?
Yeah, because I'm cheating.
Okay. Whoa! Holy shit.
Mass Effect trilogy.
I was wondering which one you were picking, and I was like, this is difficult because he's only got one pick left, and he put 0 Mass Effects before that. Wow.
Love the Mass Effect series. I even did a full retrospective and talked for 2 hours.
You have the collector's edition. Sort of? No disc, right?
I don't have the disc. And it's beat up, as I talked about on the Mass Effect episode. I got this for $5 because I asked how much it was. It's got a little bit of a ding over here. The actual metal box looks like it's been stepped on.
Yeah.
But it has a bonus content disc, and it has the manual, and it has the art book, and it has the printed codex.
Oh, that's probably the rarest part of that, isn't it? The codex.
Well, see, the game itself comes with a
regular case, right?
No, it comes like in a little cardboard, like a digipack type case, like what you get for like a CD. So it's different. This was only available through GameStop.com with the original collector's edition. This was my final addition to the collection, and
I have this one.
That is Mass Effect 3.
And I have that one too.
And this one, Mass Effect 2. And again, I opened these and went into big detail about every little thing that comes in here.
These are great collector's editions, honestly. Some of the coolest stuff.
This is the game I bought. The that I got on the 360 that I killed Rob's 360 with, and this is the original Circuit City.
That's what started it all.
This is it. Of course, only on Xbox 360.
Not true anymore.
Not true anymore. No, I'm not, because
no, I'm not.
I tell you what, I have this on PS3, and it plays just fine. In fact, in some ways, it's a little bit cleaner, and in other ways, it's slower, and it kind of chugs a little bit. And then so it's like, I feel like for the original trilogy, as much as it's fine on the PS3, this is where you play it.
That's what it was meant for.
Mass Effect 2 comes with the steelbook and this stuff, and then the reason why I noticed I talked about the steelbook. Guess what?
Same steelbook, yeah, absolutely.
Same cup, same style.
And this had the download card that's built into the packaging, which I love.
It is, and I even talked about on the Mass Effect episode. Originally, this was just like the goopy glue, and you couldn't get it back closed again. So I actually.
Oh, that's custom.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's super smart.
I customized it with a little Velcro stuff. This is like the download card for the online network that you don't do anything with other than get some free shit for doing so. Inside is a comic book.
And an art book, right?
And the art book. And then I might be something.
Wasn't there a patch?
That's
3?
That's in 3, yeah.
Sorry, I get them.
But
is it bad that I own all these and I've only played I'm probably like 30% done with the first Mass Effect?
Yeah.
It wasn't that I didn't like it. I love the game. I love the gameplay mechanic, the story, the way that you select. Like we were talking in the car about how it's like you're the director. I agree with you. Oh, hey, a little
bit of plastic.
Little plastic, guys. There's one thing on those cases that would always get me is sometimes they would it
that's
grips.
Where it heated the glue
and seals it. Yeah, it
seal it there.
Okay, so do you have any guesses what my number one is?
I have a big major guess because it's not in here, and you talked about it earlier on the show, and literally you gush about this game every time that you get a chance to talk about it.
Okay,
it begins with a B.
God, you got it. Okay, this is BioShock, but wait, because you've never seen one like this. So while this is an original BioShock, it's not, because it's actually the collector's edition. The original edition only ever had this. The collector's edition only ever looked like this. I worked at GameStop. Put 2 and 2 together.
You married him.
Fuck yeah, I married him. The first chance we had a used copy with this sleeve, this is not required to take and trade.
Yeah.
It's just as good as well damaged. I said, nope. It's mine.
Hell yeah.
It's mine forever now. I'll open mine up. Only on Xbox 360 and Windows. That's an important thing here. It comes with the BioShock EP, Just Beyond the Sea, God Bless the Child and Wild Little Sisters,
cool.
Which is great. Now, BioShock 2 actually comes with a vinyl record.
Oh, that's nice.
And we have it, yeah. And then in my living room, the 3 printed pieces, BioShock 2, all collector's edition. And then there's the disc, also the behind the scenes. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some interesting things that happened with BioShock. Brando, I don't know if you know this. When the collector's edition came out, they shipped with a resin Big Daddy. Okay? Heavy statue. It was $70 for the collector's edition.
Ouch.
$60 for the regular edition. Okay? Think about that. So you're only paying $10 more.
Yeah.
At the time, to me, this was the hands down best collector's edition that came out. But the statues came in broke a lot of times. You just get broken statues. So I'm looking at mine and I thought it was broken. I was certain it was broken. One of the parts of the knee pad was screwed up. So Microsoft's like, look, 2K's like, look, if you have a broken statue, email us here, tell us your situation. We're going to get something figured out. What they did was they made a book called like Behind Rapture or Beyond Rapture or something, and then resent you a resin statue that was like vacuum packed. And come to find out, when I got the vacuum packed one, mine wasn't broken. It's actually an effect on it to make the Big Daddy look beat up. so I got the book. I can't remember what the book is called. I feel like I'm so dumb. Behind Rapture, Beyond Rapture. We'll look it up later. But that's my top 10. BioShock is probably my number 1. I just rebeat it for the PS4. They released the collection. Next up is BioShock Infinite, which shockingly didn't make the list, but probably could have also.
Well, as I was getting towards the end of my list, I do like Mass Effect 1. It is like the reason why I bought it. So I can't have a list without this in it. But then Mass Effect 2 is like number 4 or 3, depending on my mood, of my top 10 games of all time. And then Mass Effect 3 is right in there along with it.
I mean, you really should just call this 2.5 because it's one story encompassing. Well, and really, these 3 is one major story.
Yeah, it's one all long story, except for I just kind of feel like the first one wraps it up in a way that if they
never made those,
if they never made them, they probably would have been good. The way it ends, it's like this big speech about work's not done yet, walking away. Dun, 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 dun. It's like, damn, this big fucking fanfare. So it's like, yeah, we're gonna stop them if they show back up. And then what if they never show back up?
No more games.
No more games, but they did show back up, and then we got some more games. But what to you is is the legacy of the 360?
I was thinking about this much earlier in our conversation. I'm glad we got back to this because you look at classic console gaming and you look at your Ataris and your Nintendos, and I'm just going to use like comparatively here. The PlayStation 2 to me is like the Muhammad Ali of gaming. Mm-hmm. It lasted forever. It did amazing things for a long, long time, and people just adore it. So, seriously, it has some of the best games ever on that system. This is kind of like the Mike Tyson of the gaming consoles because it was a little bit younger, it was a little bit edgier, it changed the game a lot. It was an updated, better version of, in some ways, the PlayStation 2, even though they're not even in the same family. Really, this system to me, it's just like it was like a love letter because the Xbox started to build an idea. Like the original Xbox, you have the first time you can download music to your system and use it for your games and not
DLC,
use it for your games. DLC,
online.
The whole idea of online gaming. I mean, if you had an original copy of Crimson Skies, and this is a funny little wrap-up story within what the legacy means, original copy of Crimson Skies came with 1-year subscription to Xbox Live. For the first 2 years of the Xbox 360, those codes still worked. So if you had any trade-ins with that card, boom, free year. Boom, free year. Boom, free year. Brandon is making a beeline, for those of you who can't see us, off screen to grab his Crimson Skies because he's like, is there a year of Xbox Live just sitting in my world right now? Wow. Whoa! Now, this is something I've only seen once, but that means, hold on, does that mean that on the back... Oh, I felt it. Where was it? Is there a punch? Did they punch the case somewhere?
Well, here's the thing. My copy of Crimson Skies for the original Xbox, this is supposed to be filled out and signed by a badge number. Mm-hmm. Not.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So,
there's the card. I see it. Oh, that one was 2 months free trial. Huh.
And then this is just a...
Oh, your security tag.
Yeah, back before they started putting those on.
Maybe it was only 2 months, but it was a card like this. That is exactly the card. Yeah.
Dude!
You might get 2 free months. You may try it.
You have to scratch it off like a lottery ticket. Oh.
Now you're, rocking a hard place. Do you scratch it or no?
No. I can't, man.
Yeah.
That is
awesome.
I never even noticed that though. Like honestly, I was marking out about the employee sticker more than I was this. You know?
Yeah.
Because I got this from my local disc replay in Indiana. Like, why would you have this in Indiana? This is pretty common out in Seattle.
Oh, totally, because that's where they're based out of.
Yeah. So if you ever watch like Metal Jesus Rocks, I think he even has brought this up at one point. So when I saw this, I was like, and it wasn't I'm going crazy, and it wasn't even anymore. And the only thing that sucks is that you can't see the artwork, but I think that's so cool to be.
And alternately, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could replace that case and then keep just the sticker as its own standalone.
Or I could just go and buy another copy of it. It didn't have it, and then have But still, I mean, this was opened. This was played. It's not perfect. It's got wear on it.
Yeah.
And it still has that scratch-off sticker inside.
Unused. Well, because I'm guessing if you worked for Microsoft, they probably gave you a lifetime code. Or something.
I would imagine.
Here's a 5-year subscription.
Here's a 99-year subscription to Xbox Live.
Yeah.
All right,
But
dude.
to wrap up, you asked the legacy of this, and I just think this is the system that changed. It changed the way that home gaming is modern. Again, another thing about the system that it has that predates anything else. First system that had like Netflix, Hulu, streaming services. This is again, it all started with Microsoft and the 360, and that's really kind of my major love.
The way I see it is that every generation you have that console that's really popular. You know, you have like the PS2, even though you had the Xbox, which is arguably a better system. You had the GameCube. PS2, there was no touching it. And during this generation, it was the 360. Because even though the PS3 did come back later, and they had a bunch of awesome exclusives that drew people to it, I guarantee you a large percentage of those people also had a 360 or did at one point.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and when you go into our generation now, it's definitely the PS4. Is because then when you have like 55 million PS4s compared to like not even 30 million Xbox Ones, it's almost double.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's crazy. But during this generation, like this is the system. I mean, I'm not trying to discount the PS3. I'm a Sony pony, like I said before. I loved my PS3. My collections are pretty comparable in size. I have it written down somewhere how many games I have for each one, and they're right in there neck and neck.
Your PlayStation overall collection, though, far surpasses.
Well,
I mean,
you talking
I'm
about
just looking up and just like in awe.
That's 138 now.
That's awesome. Misfits 138. Shout out. Wow.
Anyway, guys, I think it's going to do it for us on this episode. I'm pretty sure we talked for quite a while. We need to get another podcast done today before we head out.
Two more.
Well,
not before you head out, but one more before you head out.
But
hey, Brando, thanks for having me on, man.
Dude, thanks for coming on and gushing about the system with me. I don't really have anybody else that can really go into as much detail as you can, you know, especially, and then there's so many more stories that we didn't talk about, because we could do a whole episode based on your GameStop stories.
Oh, yeah, we could spend 2 hours on GameStop stories. If you ever want to do a GameStop story day, we can do it. We'll have some laughs. Maybe we get Wes on that one.
Oh, that'd be so much fun.
We could retell the classic phone story.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's funny, because I don't think that's ever... Have we ever, like... I think it was told on like maybe like the like Baller Minutia Saga 1 on Journey into Comics. Wes maybe told that story, but I mean that thing has been long since buried. We've not been in the Baller Minutia era of the early Journey into Comics days in like years.
Yeah.
You know?
It's been a while, but I definitely want to bring you back and do that. Maybe we'll do. Maybe we'll find some other system that we can do with you on.
Cool. I mean, I'm knowledgeable in pretty much any of them. You know, I also have a pretty good GameCube collection.
You do have a pretty good GameCube collection.
Yes, I do. That's kind of my like secret prize, baby. Because while regular Xbox, PS2 were doing their thing, GameCube was its totally different, weird thing.
Yeah.
And if you didn't collect for it, you might have missed out. And I luckily collected right at the right time, and you know, happy that I have some of those titles.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for checking out this episode of the Game Addicts podcast. Thank you for watching if you're on YouTube. And if you're listening for the first time, guess what? We're available on so many different platforms. We're available on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play Music. As well, you can go to our website, the Game Addicts, almost said the other one, the Game Addicts podcast. .podbean.com, where you can access this there. You can find us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Game Addicts Play. Soon to be coming at some point, hopefully this year, will be a Twitch channel where we can... I want to try live streaming the show. I want to do some live stream games, you know? I want to do a fucking weekend or more where me and you get together, just you and me, and we play the entire Mass Effect trilogy together.
That would be incredible.
And we live stream the whole thing. Oh yeah, that'd be so great. But
I have a potty mouth, by the way. I'm so sorry if you're rated PG.
No,
13.
No. We let it fly and whatever.
Well, that's good.
Honestly, our podcast is probably marked explicit just in case.
just in case, yeah.
Because I don't all the time just let it throw, but sometimes, yeah, we just let loose here on the podcast. Anyway, thank you guys for checking us out. Until next time, I'm Brando,
and I'm Nate.
And we'll see you next time.